Data is the new oil, and many women are joining as miners. Although the gap in the tech space has been wide for a while, women are carving out their place as pioneers and innovators. In this episode, I sit with two remarkable trailblazers, Aseda Addai Deseh, a seasoned data scientist, and Khadija Iddrisu, a PhD student pushing the boundaries of academic research. Enjoy this episode. Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to the Tech Self podcast, where we navigate today's tech wave one electrifying conversation at a time. I am your host, Raymond Klutse, and today I have two brilliant techie ladies who are, championing great change in their various sectors. And I am a great fan for ladies who are in tech because from the episode I did on empowering women in tech in Ghana, talking to Kweaki and Otima. It was a very great one. So whenever I see ladies in tech who are not just sitting in the bleachers, but are doing great stuff in their own right, it's very great. So I have with me today Aseda and Khadija, and these two brilliant ladies are going to help us explore the area of data science, listen to their journey, and inspire one lady out there who is thinking about getting on board in the data space. So first off, thank you so much, Asada and Khadija, for making time. So I would want you to first briefly introduce yourselves. I will start with Asada. Just briefly introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, whatever it is you want to know, a quick background, and then Khadija, when she's done, you can just take over.
Right. Thank you so much, Raymond, for having me today. So I'm Aseda Addai Deseh, as you all already heard. I am a data scientist with an insurance company based out of Ohio in the United States. I'm also the lead for Hi Ladies Ghana data science focus group and the co-lead with Khadija for Women DS Accra. That's Women in Machine Learning and Data Science Accra. And another community that I lead to is the Indaba X Ghana, which is the local Ghanaian community for the bigger deep learning Indaba, which we recently had in Accra. So it looks like I have a lot of data science community activities and then myself being a data scientist. Yeah, seems like I'm all about data science.
Nice. We love it. We love it. Khadija.
I'm Khadija Iddrisu, and currently I'm a PhD student at the Dublin City University. So I'm mostly in machine learning and computer vision. And like Asida mentioned, I co-organize Men in Machine Learning with her. And currently I'm also the the research lead for AI Ghana, which is a new organization that is trying to promote AI in Ghana.
Yeah.
And finally, I work with a Wikimedia user group in Ghana for like the northern languages. And as part of the some of the stuff we do is try to collect data sets for NLP Ghana to train their models and all of that with the help of Wikimedia.
Okay, Charlie, these ladies are some good souls. So like elevator pitch, just the kind of pitch that you just have to balance yourself a little bit before you proceed. But thank you so much. That was very great. So I will continue with you, Khadija. I I do remember when I was in school, I knew of the idea of data analyst, right, or even statistics. Statistician. But then when I was about finishing school, when I was doing my national service, I had a boss who was doing his professional doctorate in data science and asked me if I've heard of that domain. And I was like, no, what is data science after all? I was thinking about even leaving tech. So don't stress me. But then he encouraged me, and I eventually went to read data science myself in France and became a data scientist. But I'm doing more of data engineering and a bit of machine learning and software engineering here and there. But that's for a different day. When did you hear about data science, and how did you find yourself in this space, or data science, machine learning, all that?
Okay, so actually I studied computer science in the university. So
Mhm.
at that
What
time,
university?
the
So we
way
can shout out the university. What university?
yeah, University for Development Studies.
Okay.
In Ghana, yes. So at that time, we are being taught that as computer science students, like you have so many options, there's so many career paths like available to you and all of that. But then
Mm,
I just couldn't wrap my head around what exactly I wanted to do. So I learned graphic designing, I learned web designing, mobile app development. Like I was just all over the place, right? So then there was this vacation where I saw this poster was a AI training program by
mm,
Ghana Tech Lab,
right.
and I think what caught my attention was the robots on the flyer. Because I like to watch sci-fi movies and all of that. So I didn't even care about learning what AI is. I was just interested in the robotics aspects of it.
Right.
And I applied, and fortunately, I got in. And then I realized this wasn't even just about robotics. Like, we had nothing to do about robotics, but it was just mainly an introduction to AI. And it was like very like comprehensive and detailed. And we
Mm,
had to do this for like 6 weeks. So like it was really, really intensive, like trying to get around this. But what I took from this experience was the fact that we could use like data science, machine learning in almost any field at all, because at the end of it, like we had projects where people were working in medical
mm,
sector, some of us were
mm,
applying it to agri, others to finance and all of that.
mm,
So that just like really, really inspired me that maybe the graphic designing I'm going to be doing is just going to be for one thing. But with
mm,
machine learning, I get this opportunity to apply to so many different sectors. And because of that, I just didn't want to be doing one thing, but I wanted to tap into that opportunity to apply it in people's lives in different domains, like revolutionize the world with data and all of that. And that just really inspired me. After the project, I decided to learn more about machine learning, like learn more about how to proceed in this, learn more about how to go into the industry or just like go into research. And I think that is
mm.
what brought me here. Like it all started from that 6 weeks intensive AI training program.
All right. So shout out to that professor out there who brought that program out, and it's
Yeah.
encouragement to all schools to, ignite such, interest in the student body. I said that. Do you have a similar experience, or I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe?
I do. And listening to Khadija, I've known her for a while, but I actually didn't know that was her first introduction to machine learning at the Ghana Tech Lab,
Okay.
because back when I did my national service, I actually did my national service at the Kumasi Hive in Kumasi, which was also like the, should I say, the contractor that was like
Mm,
handed over the task of developing the Ghana Tech Lab and all these initiatives
right.
and all that. So
Right.
back at the Kumasi Hive during my national service, I remember that I was actually tasked to help start something in machine learning and
Okay.
data science, and we had our first AI tutorials or like training, and actually I
Right.
was like the lead for that. So I'm excited that that ripple effect went down the line
Oh
like a year or two
wow.
later at the Ghana Tech Lab.
Okay. So full circle moment there.
Yes,
That's nice.
yes. So for me, how I got into data science, similar to Khadija, I studied computer science at KNUST. From childhood, I always loved computers. I always saw the internet to be divine. Like I was so intrigued about robotics and all that stuff. So I met someone who said, "Oh, you should do computer science." Because prior to that, I thought I was going to be a doctor. Right. My whole family thought I was going to be a doctor. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's see what computer science is about. So before I got to tech, I was fortunate to get into a coding program where I was taught Java. That was my first programming language. And
Okay.
I went to KNUST, and the expectation I had of computer science and how fun and exciting I thought it was going to be, I was so disappointed. Like we were coding on the board, and like it
Mm,
was it was totally not what I expected. But because I had
mm,
some prior knowledge of what computer science or what programming could be, I still had that hope. And I realized that computer science was so broad, and
mm,
I quickly learned that I needed to find a particular path in it that will be like my career path, that will put food on my table. And then when I've eaten and I'm full, right? I can think of all the other fun and fancy stuff. So
mm,
um right after my bachelor's at KNUST, I got into a program, got selected into a tech training boot camp by a Dutch Ghanaian NGO
right.
called Maxim Nyansa. And the training I had there was really awesome because it opened my mind and my eyes to the world that it's not just about winning locally in Ghana, but that the whole world is out there for
Mm,
you. So we did trainings apart from the technical aspect, web development, database management systems. We did also project management stuff. Apart from that, also the soft skills part like email etiquette, um, things around like presenting yourself, right, speaking confidently and all that stuff. So some of the volunteers that came to teach us were actually data scientists from the Netherlands. So it was the first time I heard about data science. And I thought, this is interesting because it's like math, which I like math, and then also computer stuff. And then the connection that it
right.
had with machine learning and AI was also intriguing for me. So after that program, I went into my national service and I was excited about the Kumasi High because at that time it was just starting out and they wanted to do all these different programs in augmented reality and robotics and um, virtual reality and additive computing, stuff like that. So I was like,
Mm,
okay, since I'm going to be introduced to all these broad, interesting areas, I'll finally settle on something I wanted to do. So that was where,
mm,
with my knowledge or like the my discovery of data science and machine learning, I went there and then there was opportunity to learn machine learning and then create a program with the help of others and teach it. So that was
mm,
how actually I got into the space. Let me put it that way. Yeah.
mm,
So fast forward from that, I went back after my national service. I went back to Maximianza for a data science boot camp, a more intensive one. So we had mentors who were data scientists and all that. And that kind of was like the beginning for me and opened my
mm,
eyes to the possibilities in the space. And yeah, I haven't
mm,
turned back since then.
mm. That's nice. That's nice. That is super cool. That's super cool. I really wish I had such a nice experience transitioning to data science. I think mine was very much my boss said it. Go and check it out. I applied to the school. I didn't get it on the go. They gave me IoT. But when I went, I just knew that networking wasn't for me. So I had to now prove myself in the first semester to be able to successfully transition, which eventually I was able to. And I got a chance to work in a fintech, blah, 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 and explore data science. Now, when it comes to the topic of data science, somewhere at the time when I was in school, it was the sexiest job on the market, data science and that kind of stuff. I think the hype has died down a little bit, although people will, say, but data science is pretty much similar to what people are using, like, chat GPT or like gen AI stuff to do. Like it's around the same, because we have that typical data science, and then there's machine learning inside, then there's the deep learning machine learning. So typically the different sectors of data science, so it's pretty much the same thing. Khadija, like, this question is actually for you. Do you think getting an academic degree is a major, or like plays a key role in you becoming a data scientist? I know I'm asking you that because you're currently exploring, you're currently reading your PhD, right? And one will say that maybe you are doing it for research purposes to maybe get as the next gen or the next LLM or whatsoever. But does that really make one a very, like, does one need to go through that path to become a data scientist, or it's just a personal preference? Yeah.
Okay, so I think the short answer would be that it's not really necessary. But the
Mm,
long answer would be that it actually depends on the individual and then your long
yeah.
term goals in the end. Because these days there's a lot of websites where people can go and learn skills like
Hmm.
what's it called, Coursera, like data
Yeah,
camp
data
and all
camp.
that. Yes,
Right.
all of those websites have programs that are tailored for people that have like zero knowledge in data science, ML,
Mm,
and it
mm,
takes them to a point where they can actually just become professionals and they don't really need to go have an academic degree or something. But also
mm,
on the other side, having an academic degree is quite interesting and it's like a plus for you. Because for myself, I think I first didn't know if I wanted to do research or like I wanted to go into the industry. So after my undergrad degree, fortunately, I had a job as a data analyst at a technological firm in Tamale called Cow Tribe. So whilst I was with Cow Tribe, I was building my knowledge and skills because by then I wasn't really good at it, but from my boss, I was able to learn a bit. And at that time, I just felt like my life is done. Like I've achieved my goals in life. I wanted to be a data analyst, and I am a data analyst now. I don't really have to do
Mm,
anything anymore, right?
mm,
So then I had an email from him saying that I had been selected for the Masters in Mathematical Sciences program. And that was like a really tough decision to make because I always wanted to be a data analyst and I'm doing it. So why do I have to leave this and go study a degree in mathematics again? So it was really tough, but thankfully I had mentors that were able to like talk to me and then ask me specific questions like, what is your end goal? It's just been
mm,
about being a data analyst, then this is the right place for you. You don't really have to go anywhere. So that was when I realized that I actually wanted to do research as well. And
mm,
even if it's not just the research like end of it, I just don't want to be working as a data analyst in a company. In the
mm,
long run, I would like to have let's say a lab where I teach other people like to
mm,
start in the field and also like get to actually work as professionals. So with that,
mm.
I would need to be like really experienced myself to be able to lead such a group of people. And that is
Right.
what actually brought me here. So even though I'm still interested in industry, but I'm kind of doing a sort of research that is going to be applied in the industry. So
Mm,
as part of
right.
my PhD, I'm going to have like a year in the university. Then the next 2 years, I'm going to move into the company where I'll be doing research for the company. And then the final year, I
Mm,
come back to the school to continue with my thesis. So it really
mm,
depends on the individual and like their
mm,
long term goals. Yeah.
mm. That's great. That's great. I said that you seem to love teaching. I think Khadija is, going down a typical, traditional to become a doctor. Dr. Khadija in a few years. We can't wait to see. But I know, you've worked with, like a global teaching, like a global teaching fellow at, Delta Analytics, and you love these hackathons and all that kind of stuff. What would you say is one of the major challenges that women in tech are having, especially in the data space? What is one of the major challenges? I know there are a lot of stereotypes about, or yeah, there are a lot of um, challenges that women have. But maybe if you could give you like a top three that you think women are currently facing in tech, based on maybe your experience. Yeah.
So, one off the top of my head will be just like family, right?
Mm,
So, for example, this Indaba that just happened in Ghana, I have a friend that I
mm,
met at the Indaba in Nairobi, and
mm,
she's a researcher and all that. She's doing great, but this year she couldn't make it to Ghana. She's actually Nigerian. She couldn't make it
mm,
because she recently had a baby. Right. So, I mean, if it was her husband, he could have easily made it,
mm,
right? Having a baby
right,
as a man, like, it doesn't limit you from going for a
right,
conference like that, right? So she
right.
couldn't. So I would say in general, like family, work-life balance, stuff like that. Another one could also be people just feeling that okay, you are here because it's supposed to help with some diversity statistics, right?
Mm,
So at the back of their minds, they feel like, okay, am I really am I really here because of my skills or
mm,
because of some statistics, right? And with that, what I'll say is that everyone should believe in themselves. Like women should believe in
mm,
themselves. You are there because you were hired or you were given an opportunity because whoever put you there believes that you can do it. Even if they
right.
know that you are not there yet, they see the potential. And so you should see it as an opportunity, right? An opportunity
Mm,
given to you to make a difference, such that another woman coming after you or another girl coming after you will have it easier because people see that, okay, women can also do it. So, and they give you the
right.
opportunity. Yeah. Um, trying to think of a third one. Trying to think of a third one. Personally, I haven't really, you know how like I know women have a lot of challenges, like even people listening to your ideas, even just listening to your
Mm,
ideas, they feel like, oh, what do you know? Right, we know it. But I
mm,
feel like as women, we should work on ourselves and on our skills and our crafts. If people
Good.
know that you know your stuff, you cannot be
Good
bullied.
stuff.
If people know that you know what you're talking about, so number one would be the skills. Make sure that you are that good, such that if they put you on a scale with another gentleman or something, like they can vouch for you that you are good, right? So
Mm,
knowing your stuff, that's like one way to overcome all that. And then believing in yourself that you are there for a reason, even if you are not that good yet, you are there because of a potential, because of something that the team doesn't have. So you are there to
mm,
fulfill that need, right? And okay, I just remembered something that I experienced myself. So
mm.
oh back at the Kumasi Hive, I think we've already started mentioning
All
names.
right.
So
Sure, that's fine.
every time we had something like a stand up or something, I remember I was okay. I was the only like technical female on the team. We had
Mm,
another lady who was more like the manager, but for the technical meetings, I was like the only female. And they kept telling me to write the minutes. And personally,
mm,
like I like math over writing stuff. I mean, I'm good at writing, but naturally, I like the math aspect of things. So I didn't really like writing that, but I just wrote it because they told me to write it, right? And it's always like, okay, if there's a girl in a miss, then she will be a good secretary or she'll be good at writing notes and all that. So
mm,
sometimes like there are certain stereotypes or certain rules that you're associated with. Oh, the girl should make the coffee for everyone, or like the girl. No, we are all here because of our skills, right? Because of the role.
right.
So if she doesn't opt to do that, nobody should like just assume that she should be able to do it just because she's a girl. So these are some of the challenges and then some ways to overcome them as well. Yeah.
Mm, that's nice.
Yeah,
Khadija,
and
I think
just
yeah, yes, yeah, yeah. Go for it. I can see that. I can see that you really had a few things to add.
yeah, this when as that was talking, like a personal experience just came to my mind, and I sort of want to like advocate this as an advice to other young ladies. So there
Right.
was this time when I was working, and actually the departments where I was put in was just like I wasn't really doing anything there. Like they would just give me minutes or something to write and things like that. So there was this time when, like, I think before the actual work began, the company sort of had to rotate us to like all the departments so that she gets to
Mm,
understand what they do, and then we
right.
get to actually work with them for like 2 weeks, right?
Right.
In some of the departments I had gone to, they used to work in research and development. Like they used to work with a lot of numbers and like
Mm,
analyzing statistics and like graphs and all of that. So there was this time when I was tasked with something. Somebody else was supposed to do it, but they asked me if I could do it, and I was like, yeah, I can, and then I did it. And the boss of that department was actually very impressed with that, but I had to move to my department. So I was in my department and I was writing minutes and I was doing things like that. But constantly they would come from their department to call me to come and do something for them. So at a point, I just went up to the CEO and I'm like, look, I'm a numbers type of person. I like working with numbers. I don't like working with text and like writing and all
mm,
of that. So I would appreciate it if you could move me to somewhere where my skills are actually being put to use than just leaving me here. And that was what happened. Like I was moved to that point. And once I got there, like the things I was doing is like nobody else could do it. So
mm,
like as Dan mentioned, you have to we the ladies know that these stereotypes are there and people would always act that way, like ignorantly or intentionally. So we
mm.
have to like actually make sure that we are always like the best versions of ourselves. Like
Come on.
anything we are tasked to do, we do it to the best of our ability. That's way people do not even just see you as somebody that can make the coffee, but they
Mm,
appreciate your skills and they know that once this person is not here, we are
mm,
going to need somebody else to fill in that position. And that
mm,
sort of just makes you like indispensable and like I just think
mm,
that is how we should go. Like it was really an experience that like changed me and like I grew through it and I would just like to
mm,
share that with people.
mm. That's very good. I think for me, I think some of the most brilliant people I've met in my life from different sectors have been women. Very, and when I say like brilliant, not just book smart, but then like they know that stuff. Sometimes we can be in school and we can learn and learn shallow stuff, right? Because we just want to learn and pass. But then people who can, really, break down with like a machine learning algorithm to you in like in the deepest depths. I'm always mesmerized. I don't know whether it's something in your genes that gets you guys to delve, but I think naturally most of the people I've met who really, want to go for the stuff, they do it and do it well. Now on the topic of data science, I know you guys, love working in communities. You were recently in Ghana for the Indaba, right? I got it right this time. I said that right. And there's so many projects. I was listening to a few of the talks. So many projects. I want you. I think I saw Khadija standing by one of her posters. I said I didn't see you. I don't know whether you also presented something or you were coordinating. I don't know. But I want both of you, is for you, so both of you will speak at a time to share one of your best data science projects you've worked on. Maybe one that is very unconventional, one that really like, hit home, one that was a very personal one. So just tell us just tell us a little bit about the problem and then the tools you use, how you went about it, and how your final results were. Yeah. So I think I'll let Khadija, stay on a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So I think I've worked on quite interesting projects, but I would like to start with my main project. That was what I worked on at Ames Ghana.
Mm,
So at Ames Ghana, towards the we usually do like a 10 months master's degree in
mm,
mathematical sciences, and like as part of it, you are not really like specialized in one thing, but like you learn different aspects of pure mathematics, and then in
mm,
the end, you have like a research project. So in that period, I was just like interested in machine learning because that was what I went to Ames for. So towards the end of it, I was supposed to work on a project, and
right.
that project was actually about, I think, replicating. I think there was this protein predicting stuff that was developed by DeepMind. And I was supposed to, yeah, that was AlphaFold. I was supposed to like sort of replicate AlphaFold, right? So
Mm,
that was what the initial project was about. But at the beginning of it, my supervisor was like, I think I have an opportunity for you, like out of Ames. So if you are interested in that, why don't we change your topic to something that you would actually be working on after Ames? So that was like I was like segmenting brain vessels for like diagnosis and all of that. And he is into medical imaging, so automatically I had to work with medical imaging. And the problem at hand was try to do brain vessel segmentation, because this is something that can be done manually, but it actually takes like a lot of time, about 3 months, and like it requires like expert knowledge to do this. And we know that brain diseases
mm,
like dementia and stroke and all of that, once somebody's been like infected with this, they don't really have much time to wait for a diagnosis. Like their condition just keeps on like deteriorating, and that was why this
mm,
was actually like a very interesting problem for me. And also
mm,
personally, I had a family member that sort of had a brain problem. So once you mentioned that this was
mm,
about brains and then like brain disease diagnosis, like I was just immediately like invested into it, and that was how it began.
mm,
So what we tried to do was
mm,
get brain scans, MRI and CT scans, and this was something that I had zero knowledge of. So I had to go from scratch, try to learn all these medical imaging terms, try to find out how an MRI is being done, how CT is being done, the challenges
right.
associated with this, and also how my innovation is going to like sort of change that. So what we did was like just approach it in the usual computer vision way. So in computer vision, we
Mm,
have like three main tasks, which is like classification, detection, and then
mm,
segmentation. So we use
station, right.
segmentation, and we're able to like segment the brain scans into regions, which is similar to the manual brain vessel segmentation that has been done. And based on that, doctors do not really have to wait for like 3 months to be able to do the segmentation manually and then diagnose
Right.
the disease, but you can just like input this into a system that we built, and then in 5 minutes time you have your results, and then you can proceed from there. So that was actually quite interesting for me, and I think I submitted this to my first Indaba X, which Aseda and her team gave me the opportunity to go and present in Tunisia at the Africa Research Showcase Day. And I also
Mm,
had the opportunity to talk about it at several places like the African Women in AI program, and it was just
mm.
like really like amazing getting to work on that sort of research. Yeah.
That's nice. That's super good. And this is all in house, in Ghana, So it's an encouragement, you can be in Ghana, you can, create something that, hits home. She created a project that was a very personal one. Um, do you did you just, stay there in terms of like the project just being maybe like a POC, or you maybe gave it to another like team to, like produce, or go further with the project, or I don't know, maybe it's even part of your current thesis?
Yes, so we actually didn't make use of it like in terms of like socially, like in the
Right.
society
Right.
community, because we had plans to improve on it. So like aside
Mm,
segmentation, we wanted to develop a system that would just do the diagnosis straightforward. So
mm, mm,
afterwards, the next project I worked with him on. So my supervisor was currently he was in Poland at the time, and he's still in
right.
Poland. So when I went to do my master's in machine intelligence in Senegal, I also had the opportunity to work with him again. But this time we
Mm,
tried to like extend this. Like we found a new problem, like because the ones we were working on, the CT scans and MRI scans, were just like 2D slices. But now we know that the world is moving towards virtual reality and all of that, and like a lot of people
wow.
are moving towards 3D. So we tried to like move the problem to a 3D like problem. So what we did for this next project was to try to use the MRI scans that we had before to create a 3D like version of it. So that once you have this MRI slices and CC scans, it just generates like a 3D video for you so that you can see how the veins are moving, and then medical experts can easily tell that this part is causing dementia and this part is causing a
Mm,
stroke or something. So
right.
that's where we are currently, and we just recently published the paper on the 3D reconstruction. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. That's super cool. Asada, share a bit of, your data science project journey.
Okay, so I'm currently working on something interesting,
Okay.
an intersection of data science and health, but I'm not in the position
Okay.
to share much on that. So I'll talk
That's
about
fine.
a project that I worked on that I think is also quite interesting. So
Mm,
back in 2019, I worked a bit with Mino Health AI for about 3 months on this project
mm,
where they were trying to create an app to help farmers um, determine if a plant was sick or not, like, and also determine the type
okay.
of disease based on how the leaf.
Oh wow. AI plant doctor.
Yes, so it's actually the Cara Agro AI. So I was like part of putting together the first version of it and all that. So I wasn't really involved in the machine learning building part of it. When I joined, they had already built that with TensorFlow models and
Right.
computer vision stuff and all. So when I joined, the need was to um, build the Android app from scratch
Right.
and then like deploy the TensorFlow models to that. So that was a big challenge for me. Um,
Mm,
of course, I knew Android from
mm,
computer science, but I hadn't actually like really put it to such a huge project like that. And then a new
mm,
learning for me was learning how to deploy like TensorFlow models to
mm.
a smaller version, like a smaller
Small
device,
version.
right? So
Yeah.
like TensorFlow
Right.
Lite version and all that.
Right.
So for me, it was interesting. Even when I was like building and testing it out, like pointing to a leaf or a plant, and it's able to tell you, okay, like it's healthy or it has this disease and all that. So I know that they use data from this research, agri research institution in Ghana. The name just escaped
Mm,
me, but yeah, it was. I think it was really interesting, like trying to predict disease from a
mm,
model, right, from an app, and I
mm,
think it's something that we should look into, even as Africans,
mm,
how AI can
mm,
help us in stuff like agriculture
mm,
and health. These
mm,
are issues that we face as a continent, and if AI can
mm,
today help content creators, right, ChatGPT to create so many things in like 5 minutes, right? How
right.
much more the actual problems, the actual life changing problems like food security, like certain diseases that nobody in the West will sponsor that because it only plagues
Mm,
those of us in our part of the world, right? How much more, like,
right.
what can machine learning help us do to augment our research and come up with solutions to these problems. So I think, yeah, that was
Mm,
an interesting thing. And personally,
mm,
something I'm looking into, like using AI and machine learning to
mm.
solve problems that affect us as Africans. Yeah.
And I believe every time such great innovations come up, we always like to project into the West. Not to be a bit political, but I'm sure you saw a few days ago, the demonstration and everything that was going on and everything. And one tweet I made was, I mean, I sympathize with the people who are in Ghana currently going through the situation because people are genuinely expressing their displeasure with situations. I wouldn't delve into that because there's no politics. But one thing I said was, even in our English oral exam, we were taught, I don't know, I'm sure you all went to London is the capital of Britain. We always project all these things into the West, but why couldn't it be Accra as the capital of what? Ghana? It's equally, a right pronunciation. We understand me, but every time it comes to these, great innovations, we always, you know, the West, and everything is just on the West. But then there are local problems that touch people that could potentially be solved with just a little bit of AI. Who knows, maybe the fashion industry, some augmented reality, to help people you do better pattern making so that both plus size and skinny and intermediate, there's more inclusion. These are these are all great ideas that um, um be implemented for home, not just I'm trying to export the product. Because if you're doing a thing at home, sooner very soon we'll not need to even export, like like import, sorry, products from abroad, because we know that we can have very well sewn clothes affordable, and I say the word affordable because now we're also in a phase where our own local clothes that are of international standards are not affordable. They are designed for the West again. But anyways, speaking about the West, I know we are all in different countries. You are in Ireland, you are in US, I'm in the UK. How has your data science experience both home and abroad been? The difference, like the major differences. No need calling out specific company did a blah 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 blah. On a personal level, Khadija, I'll start with you. How was, like, what major differences have you seen since you moved?
Okay. So I think the differences here is mainly in the way the courses are being delivered. Because, like as Dan mentioned, at UDS, you used to code on paper. Like you have like a Java test or like a C++ test, and you're coding on paper. And the annoying thing was that some of the programming languages we were learning were not even like in use. I remember like in our first year, we had to
Mm,
learn a programming language called Dr. Racket or something. I don't even think like anybody uses it like these days. So like really have to be up to date. And one thing I've noticed about coming here is that like our interactions with the people that are being delivering the courses and like our supervisors and our mentors is like on that friendly level. Like everybody
mm,
has like this freedom of expressing themselves and asking the questions that you need to ask to really understand what they are being taught. So a model that I actually really liked at Ames was the fact that most of our professors and like our teachers were like not from Ghana. And once they come down to Ghana, like we are encouraged to like call them by their first names. That's we like you feel very free to go and ask them for any question. Like during
right.
lunch, you're seated with them on the same table, asking them questions about what you didn't understand like whilst the course was going on. Like you have that 24 hours interaction. So when I first started working with my supervisor, he was all the way in Poland and I was in Ghana, but we still have like regular meetings to
Mm,
like just catch up on where I am. And also Ames like had the opportunity to like sponsor them to come down to Ghana just for 2 weeks so that she gets to meet them and like actually work with them for that best before they come back here. So when I came here, I realized that the experience I was sort of getting at Ames is similar to here. And this semester, like I have the opportunity to like tutor in this data management class. And what we do is like they have like a 2 hours like class where like the teacher is there, the lecturer is there, and then explains all the theory. And it's immediately followed by the labs. And the labs is like just the practical version of whatever they learned. And then we the tutors are there to like help them from the beginning to the end of it. So you can imagine how much like experience they are going to be at the end of the course. Because the material is like a lot. They get to actually practice what they are doing, and it's just like very interesting. Sometimes, like at the end of the course, you see students just walking up to you and asking you, so like, how do I stay this course? Is there any other place where I can find like resources to like stay ahead of the class and then actually get to understand further? So I really think that if those sorts of interaction was being encouraged in Ghana, then things would really be different. Because there's an experience where I sort of like had like a lecturer and as students would just like call them by their real names, like hang out during lunch, ask them questions, and like they would even like just explain to us. Sometimes like assignments would come and like write on the board. And then I meet a student of DS in their traditional university, and she's like, yo, you can't just call this guy by his real name. Like, you have to book an appointment before going to his office. And so I'm just like, how then do you ask him questions when you don't understand? Like, so
Mm,
I feel like our mindset and the way we sort of like deliver courses and like engage students should like really shift a little bit, not just to
mm,
the not really to the Western style, but to sort of like give students the freedom to interact with teachers and lecturers and then
mm,
ask questions and like actually even get to practice more rather than the manual things that we've been doing.
mm. That's nice. Asida, over to you.
Yeah, I agree with everything Khadija said. So I have an
Mm,
example. Back in KNUSC, I think when I was in second year, so there was this course on web development. And at that time,
mm,
HTML5 and CSS3 had come out fresh, but they were
mm.
still teaching us XHTML, which wasn't even like really working anymore, right? So I'm
Right,
like, why are
right.
we learning in codes, grandfather notes, when
Mm-hmm,
there's
mm-hmm,
like the actual cutting edge stuff happening right now, right here in our faces?
mm,
I don't know if they now teach HTML5. I don't know. And then also at that time, so Android development was the buzz at that time, right? Mobile
mm.
development and all that.
Yeah,
And
right, yeah.
as at that time, we didn't have even one course on mobile development, computer science. I don't know if they
Mm,
have now,
mm,
but as at the time I was leaving, I remember they kept saying they're going to um introduce that, they're going to have that and all. But as at the time I was leaving, we still didn't have it. I don't know if they have it now, but yeah, these are some of the challenges, like older things that are not actually like modern and cutting edge at this time that are still
mm,
being taught at the universities. But it's not that
mm,
way
mm,
out here. They are always like on top of innovation, on top of new things happening.
mm,
And then
mm.
also, yeah, like addressing professors. I remember in second year, I had this professor at Tech. I mean, he was actually a doctor, like his name started with doctor, blah, blah, blah. So one day I made a mistake. I like, and I called him Mr. Blah, blah, blah. Come and see.
Yikes.
Yeah, right. So something like that was a big deal to him. I forgot I made a mistake, right? But out here, even if you mistakenly call them by their first name, it's okay. That's their name, right? And they are very free, open. There are lots of opportunities. So I did my graduate studies here as well in the US. There's lots of office hours, lots of
Mm,
help, TA help. Even if you are giving a coding assignment and you can't do it, you can go to your TA's office hours and ask them questions. How do I approach this? How do I approach that? They'll give you tips and
mm,
ideas. Right. It's
mm,
more like it feels like in Ghana they're trying to test you on whether you know it or not. Like, are you that smart?
mm,
But over here,
mm.
they're trying to help you to learn. Everybody comes together and
Understand.
wants you to do well. So even if you don't know, they know you don't know yet. So what can we do to help you get there? Right. And then another thing too, so now out of the academic scene into the industry, realize that there's of course more opportunity here, and opportunity in
Mm,
terms of every stage in your career that you are in, there's opportunity. So back in Ghana, I realized that most of the data science or data analyst roles I was seeing were from the big telcos and the big banks, and they were looking for like 10 years of experience, looking for people who are already like up there, right? And I remember I walked into one interview and I was being asked questions and looked at as if like I was supposed to know everything in the whole world. right? But
Mm,
I'm like a self starter. Data science is also like a new thing
mm,
in Ghana. So at least try
mm,
me or something. But yeah, it was quite difficult. But I realized that over here, if you're just coming out of school, there are entry level roles for you. If you are
right.
in your mid career level, you have roles. If you are a senior person, you have roles. So it's like at every point in your career, you have opportunity. You have people who value what you know, right? Even though you don't have the experience, they know that you're coming fresh out of school. So there's some new technologies or new ideas that you might have that they value. So they'll give you the
Mm,
opportunity.
mm,
And
right.
of course, like over here, data science has grown or like has been here for long before Ghana, right? So probably we are yet
Mm,
to get to that point, but I feel like this is where it's more developed, as in the field I want to be in
mm,
is more developed. I can
mm,
actually meet the
mm,
people I'm looking for to learn
mm,
from and
right.
to to just be great and probably come back to be one of the pioneers to help, take data science somewhere back in Ghana,
Oh
back in Africa.
wow,
So
that's
yeah,
nice.
these are some of the experiences I've had.
I was actually going, segue right into, because I can tell you guys have some affinity for back home. You guys go back home and contribute to the community, and so clearly it's obvious that you guys have some plans of maybe potentially going back home to champion that change and all that. Do you see yourself, like, how soon? I'm not saying you don't have to give any numbers or any time period, but it's like definitely in the pipeline. You see yourself going back home to support with a data science movement, if I may. Okay, now I'm gonna test you guys on something. It's not a techie stuff. Relax, relax. So first off, Aseda, what would you say is your top creative side?
Top creative side.
Like, do you have any creative side at all?
Oh,
Sing,
yeah. So I think, yeah, I like graphic design. I like
mm,
designing stuff. So
mm.
yeah, let me just leave it at that.
Okay, good. So we'll stay on design. Khadija, how about you? What is yours?
Do you mean generally or in sense
Just
of
general. Just pick
data?
like a creative side.
Okay, so generally my creative side will be watching sci-fi movies, but
Okay.
in terms of data science, I just really like anything to do with computer vision, and I'm great
Okay.
at graphic design too, like
Yeah,
Asida.
yeah,
Okay. We
she
have
is.
two. We have we have two. Okay, we have two people who are interested in graphic design. So I'm going to put you guys to the test. I'm going to give you time to do it, but then so you have 5 minutes to just think through it. All right. But I said that for you, I want you to describe your favorite meal with data science concepts or computer science
What?
concepts in general. So just feel free. You can use then for you, Khadija, I want you to describe your favorite country destination with data science concepts. So play around it. I want to see what you can do in the shortest amount of time. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes. You can mute your cameras and focus. It's a focus time. I will be back when you hear the when you hear the when you hear the alarm go off. It means it's time to deliver. So, data science concepts, but play around. You can use different tech concept like loops, if statement, blah 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 blah. Describe it. Since you guys are graphic designers, paint that picture in someone's head, especially a young girl who wants to be a data scientist. Let's go. I'll be back. Okay, so our brilliant ladies from Ghana, one in the US, one in Ireland, have put their creative side together to, share with us from their graphic creative side one her favorite meal using tech or data science concepts, and the other her favorite travel destination using data science concepts. I will let Asada start, and then Khadija, you can end. So Asada, over to you. Let's hear it.
Okay, so I'm going to describe how to make jollof and chicken with data science concepts.
Okay.
So First of all, before you start making jollof, you have to gather your ingredients, the rice, tomatoes, onions, peppers, what have you, right? So in data science, let's say these are your data points, which you need to gather and put together to make your jollof rice. Okay. So um the next thing you do is to clean the tomatoes, chop it, even marinate some of the chicken and all of that stuff, right? So that will be the data processing stage where you um like you're gathering the data, cleaning it, transforming it, preparing it to be in the right shape and form for your analysis, right? So the next step before you build a model or something will be like feature engineering. So with jollof, like the different ingredients contribute differently to the overall flavor and all that, right? So um, you want to check how much tomatoes, how much onions, and all of that you have to put inside, right, to make it nice. Then we go to the cooking process, which I would call the model training or the model building process. So this is the stage where you run certain algorithms with your data, in this case your ingredients, right? And you see certain patterns that the model is able to learn certain patterns and like learn some knowledge or insight from the data, right? So
Mm,
certain patterns here could be, maybe you see the jollof will now turn from stew, rice and water to now start becoming one, the rice.
right. Great, great.
One grain, yeah.
Right.
Yes. So the next stage, I would say the evaluation and testing stage, right? So
Mm,
after cooking your meal, or even while cooking it, you'll be tasting for the texture,
mm,
for how it looks, for the salt content, and all of that, right? So in data science, too, models are evaluated using certain metrics as to see if
mm,
the data is the model is being overfit or if it's like actually really generalizing well, trying to capture the patterns or whatever insight is in the data. So the next will be, say, the optimization stage where making adjustments to certain things, right? So if you're cooking your jollof, you realize that actually the water is not enough. Let me add small
mm. Okay.
or something. You know how sometimes some jollof can come out bad, right?
Right.
Soggy and all that.
Right.
So outside the optimization stage, yeah. Um, Also in data science, making sure that you're fine tuning your hyperparameters, making sure that they are, um, yeah, of course, not overfitting, not underfitting. You're actually getting
Mm,
the right mix of what you need. Yeah, and
right.
then probably the final stage would be the deployment. So after your jollof is looking orange, and your chicken you made. Okay, I was talking more of the jollof, but yeah, finish
Yeah,
frying your
we get
chicken
we
in
get
some
it.
way. Yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah. So you would need to serve it to an audience, right? Maybe to your family or even to yourself. So in data science, so
Mm,
after you build your model and you have come up with certain insights and all that, you know how to deploy it to either the business stakeholders to use that insight to make certain decisions or to maybe to an app, right? For example, the app I spoke about, like predicting diseases in plants and all of that stuff. And then even after deploying, you don't stop there. So if,
mm,
for example, if you're a chef, right, you keep receiving feedback and how you can improve your dish and all that. So probably your friends can give you some feedback that, oh, the jollof was great, or maybe next time add some more salt or something, right? So that's like the monitoring and maintenance stage in data science. So after we deploy models, we try to monitor the improvements to see if like they're doing what they're supposed to do or they are decaying over
mm,
time, stuff like
mm,
that. Yeah. And then we know what measures to put in. And sometimes too, if it's time, based on that, if it's time for a model revision, we know that okay, we need
mm.
to revise our model to cater for certain new things that we are experiencing in the data. So yeah, I tried.
Ah,
I hope this works.
listen, listen. This is giving me giving me an idea for hopefully a robot that will just take this algorithm and it's Jollof algorithm.
Mhm.
I think it to be a nice thing we should all work on. Create like a funny Jollof algorithm and it'll be
Yes.
very helpful for chefs and everything, step by step. That was very very good. Very good. So for those of you out there who do not know how to cook, Aseda has given you the cheat code. Khadija, what do you have for us?
Well, mine is a bit disappointing. It's not really
Don't worry, go for
comprehensive.
it. I know it's quite a task, but go for it.
Okay, so I'm planning a trip to Iceland, and
Okay.
I'm going to do this with CV2, which we usually use to display images in computer vision.
Mm,
So it goes. My code goes like this. So I'll first of all import CV2 Airways, which is the library I'm going to use, right? So when I import CV2 Airways, I'm now going to look through some things to find the destination I want. So now I want to get a pixel in Iceland. So I'm going to check for pixel in Iceland. If I'm going to now select the different destinations from the CV2 airways that we have, obviously they go to different places, right? So if CV2 airways, which is being indexed, so like we usually try to find from a list something, we have to index it. So now I'm going to say that if CV2 airways indexed by the destination is equal to Iceland, so from the destinations in CV2 airways, if the destination is equal to Iceland, which is what I want, then I'm going to define an image that I want it to print. So the image is going to be CV2 airways.imread, which is what we use to read images. So
all
CV2
right.
airways.imread, the picture of an aurora, right? Then I'm now going to show this. So if I'm going to show this, I can display a title before showing the image. So the way I'm going to show my image is going to be CV2 areas.imshow. These dream destination fulfilled. Then I
Mm,
call my Aurora image, which is now going to print the caption, which is these dream fulfilled, with a picture of the Aurora, and that will be me in Iceland. So it's done.
hey, Charlie. These girls, I mean, these, no, no longer girls, I retract. These women are smart. That was, I like how you guys took different angles. One went for, image processing, the other went for, typical traditional machine learning models. This has been super fun. I would want you guys, we are about finishing, and in fact I don't want to let you guys go because this was so fun, but we all have lives to attend to. In a minute or two, you guys have, lived in Ghana, you've done computer science, UDS, KNUST. There's a young lady out there who will just start that program very soon, or is currently in that program, also at the crossroads, not too sure what to do. In 2 minutes max, give your best advice on what they should be looking out for and how they can, stand out, or like the caption is, excel as a woman in data science. I'll let you, Kadi, just start, and then Asida can finish up for the day.
Okay, so for me, I don't really have much to say because my path was a bit different, but it wouldn't have been possible without some mentors that I met
Mm,
along the way. Because starting out, I felt like this would be a very lonely path. If you don't really have people to guide you, then it's not going to be easy. So I was fortunate that my first instructor at the data science program, who was in the person of Salim, actually was there for me afterwards to like guide me, like this is resources you should be looking at, this is like places that you should try to go to and all of that. And
right.
alongside I also met Hanifa, who is a currently she just finished her PhD as the University for Development Studies. So through
Mm,
Hanifa I also got to know Deborah, and we all went to the same university. So just seeing those two women like excel through it all, like
mm,
usually like coming from the north in Ghana is like a
mm,
different thing on its own. Like
right.
you have like
Right.
less resources, there's like community norms that you have to fulfill, like you have to be married and all of that. But just
Right.
seeing those two ladies like balancing it all and still like being the champions in their field was like really
Mm,
inspiring to me. And that really just taught me that if they are able to do it, then why can't I do it as
why
well?
can't I? Right.
And because of that, I just kept on pushing. Like I kept on studying. I kept on trying to be the best version of myself so that when I get in anywhere, there's no guy that's gonna tell me that you just came here because there was like a 30% allowance for females or something. Like
Mm,
I try to let them know that I can do this based on my actual like skills and like the strengths that I have.
mm,
And anywhere I go, I really want to like promote the diversity of women in tech and
mm,
all of
mm,
that. So I'll
mm,
just advise people out there that if you want to get started in data science, machine learning, like find a mentor. I
mm.
actually mentor like a few people, both
Okay.
girls and boys. Like just
Right.
find a mentor. I'm there if you need me to answer any questions. Like try to clearly see your long term career path, and based on that, like it's just easy for you to choose what you want to do, the degrees you want to get, and the ones that you don't want to. And
Nice.
always just try to learn from people that have already excelled in that field. And that's where like it just becomes easier for you to like step on their shoulders and like just do your best. And finally, I would like to say that sometimes some of the people I've met, they sort of think that if I'm just starting in this field and I'm not really like top of the world, sort of not really, but like something like that. People
Mm,
usually feel like, especially colleagues I've met, I've always felt like I have like a lot of connections with people,
mm,
and
mm,
that is why I'm able to get to where I am. But if you actually look at it, it's not just like having connections with people, but it's about trying to make an impact. So there
mm,
are people that are actually like quite much better than me, but they are not talking to people or like actually having that impact. Like everyone is different. So just try to identify what you want to do with the knowledge you are gaining. If you want to help the community or you just want to build yourself, and just like be in that track, like just try to like use the skills that you've learned to make the world a better place for someone else. So I think that would be my concluding words.
all right. That's a good one. Asida, your final words.
Yeah, I would say that for someone starting out, you should join communities, tech communities. Like those are very important because in those spaces, you hear of trainings, you hear of job opportunities, you even find mentors, like Khadija was saying, right? So, some female tech communities that I'm involved with, like Pi Ladies Ghana, like Women in Machine Learning, Data Science, Accra, like find community. And when you get onto their platform, if there's any new thing happening, any event that you should be attending, you get to know. For example, this deep
Mm,
learning in Daba, you probably wouldn't know about it if you don't join a tech community, or even if you're not at the Ghana Data Science Summit or the Daba X Ghana. How would you know that there's a deep learning in Daba happening in Ghana? And this is where you actually meet people you need to meet. That's why you need the mentors, you hear of training
mm,
opportunities and even
right.
scholarships, right? Even scholarship opportunities and all of that. So I would say that communities, it's important to identify some very good communities in Ghana. And even these days, because of remote opportunities, like you can even be part of like Pi Ladies Global and be in Ghana, because there are lots of activities that they do online, virtually, you can join
Mm,
and all that. So,
mm,
yeah, that would be my concluding advice.
mm. That's amazing. Guys, thank you so much. Oh, in fact, I retract ladies because they're ladies. I know guys is not necessarily because they're men, but then it's a, generic term. But thank you so much for this conversation. You've actually reignited some more desire for me in the data science, because after I finished my master's in data science, I haven't really done a lot of data science work. And it's been something that has been, bugging me a lot. I've done bits and pieces here and there, but I'm open to, collaborating on some interesting projects, pick up for where I left off. Hopefully my skills are not too stale. But yeah, thank you so much for making time. And I look forward to seeing you guys rise to the highest of heights in your career. You're already doing very well in the community, but I know that the sky does not even exist for you guys. It's beyond, like, you guys, there's the reason why I selected like both of you, and it's so funny how the two of you actually work with each other already and everything. It was like a perfect match, and I enjoy this. And also enjoyed your fufu recipe. I mean, sorry, I say your fufu, your jollof recipe, and your destination. Identifier. And yeah, all the best in your careers, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you.
I might not be able to go to Iceland this moment, but after this call, I'm going to make jollof.
Well, we are all going to make
Yes,
some jollof. I actually have some stuff planned, but we'll
yes,
see. We'll test out this algorithm and see how it works. But thank you so
yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Indeed, the gender gap in the data space is far from being closed. However, inspiring stories like those of Aseda and Khadija remind us that resilience, innovation, and unwavering determination are essential ingredients for women to excel in this industry. Their journeys show us that success is not only possible but achievable. Thank you for listening. See you in the next episode.